Now,
I'm getting a yucky feeling just hearing
Susie
that.
Orman would not agree with that. However, we're not Susie Orman. So, sometimes that kind of a belief, that affects your whole life. So it can be in the way of relationship.
That's true. Great. So, okay, so we get to the belief and we muscle test and I'm really weak for that belief.
Weak for that one.
So what do we do from there? What do we do with that
Then we
belief
go
now?
to, we seek out a balance to change this belief to the one that we want, the one that supports us. And one using a whole brain state is called the new direction balance. And then I would test Mitch, is it safe and appropriate to use the new direction balance for this belief statement?
So that's interesting. So you're always checking in with the client. You're
It's
always
all
checking in to make
permission.
sure it's
Is
safe,
it
get
safe?
permission.
Is it appropriate? Is it safe? Is it appropriate? On and on and on.
Excellent. I like that. That seems to have a lot of integrity. I know that when I've studied Reiki and when I've had Reiki done on me, it's all about permission. And I like that. I think that's really appropriate.
Everything is about permission.
When it comes to healing and when it comes to dealing with the subconscious mind. And great. Okay.
And sometimes that permission, well, in Psych K, that permission comes from the subconscious, where your conscious mind, which doesn't run as much as of us as we would like to think does, may think that's what it wants. But if the subconscious mind is not in agreement, then it's not going to happen.
And I know I've talked about this in terms of, hypnotherapy and different transformations, is when the conscious mind and the subconscious mind seem to be out of alignment, or as you're saying, in conflict, the results, I know it seems like we just push ourselves through that sometimes, and we push our willpower, which is such a big part of our conscious mind, and we really try and push through it. And sometimes we do get to the other side of it, but the results are usually temporary. If you want long-term, really integrate those beliefs, those new beliefs and ideas that are going to give you a new outcome, then you've really got to own it and really step into it. And
pushing through something, there's an incongruency there that it's not going to work forever.
Yeah, it's not going to work forever. So yeah, it sounds like this puts the conscious mind and the subconscious mind into a different kind of alignment, into an alignment where now all parts of you are wanting the same thing. So like I like to say with hypnotherapy, it's now you're going to feel like doing what you need to do in order to really reach your goals. And it's going to feel so easy and so natural for you to start moving in that direction.
That's correct.
Yeah, excellent. Good. So I'm loving all this already. So yeah. So now we've got a different, a lot of different balances. It seems like there's a lot of different ways you can go here.
The new direction balance uses whole brain states so that your left hemisphere of your brain and your right hemisphere of your brain are talking to each other, because we've all known people who are creative, they're very right-brained, or scientific, and they're very left-brained, but we've got both parts, and we work better when we work together. So that uses a whole brain posture and changes that belief. There's another one.
What about the VAK to the future? That looks really interesting.
Yeah, VAC to the future, we call
VAC
that.
VAC to the future. I like that.
It's a visual, an auditory, and kinesthetic means of reviewing a desired goal and seeing, hearing, and feeling the achievement of that goal. So you would imagine what you are seeing once you've met your goal, and what you're hearing, what other people are saying about you. If it was somebody who was interested in weight loss, how great that person is looking and how slim and trim and all of that. And then feeling how you feel when you've met your goal.
Excellent. I love that so much because I know we've talked about this before. The subconscious mind is the seat of imagination and the seat of emotion. And it also does not know the difference between what you imagine vividly and what's real.
Right.
So if you're this back to the future, if you're actually seeing yourself out there in the future and having all those good feelings that you would have as if it's already happening, your subconscious mind thinks you're already there.
Exactly.
And that's why it starts getting you there really fast. Is that right?
Right. Like the mental movie, though.
Right, like future pacing. I know in NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, they call it future pacing. In hypnotherapy, we call it mental movies. And I love this, Back to the Future. Yes. Pretty original. Great. So, let's talk about one more thing here.
Okay.
I think this is
and then
really
there's,
interesting.
there's what's called a life bonding balance. And it's designed to free us from the limitations that we hold true or not about a birth experience or a death experience. I mean, some people are so afraid to die, and they need to be free of that fear. It's the fear that is paralyzing in some cases.
And that fear is based, again, on some belief.
Some belief that got lodged in their mind, well, we don't need to get into where it may have come from, but...
Well, there's a lot, one of the things that is so interesting about this, about where beliefs come from, is that, a lot of times I know we always think, clients come and they always think that, because the belief has had such a negative impact on their lives, that whatever was happening at the time was so horrible that they just can't even imagine going back there.
Right.
And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes what we're deciding and accepting by the virtue of our subconscious mind, since it does reason only deductively, sometimes the event isn't really that big of a deal.
Right.
But the belief that we're accepting, it could be something that somebody else said. It could be negative self-talk that somebody else has in their own experience. And we can just pick that up as those little kids without any filtering system to not say yes to that. And that becomes our new belief. So all of those things, there's no good or bad belief. There's nothing, anything that you've accepted or decided was perfect at the time. The belief that you accepted at the time was perfect.
It supported you at that moment.
It's about survival. The subconscious mind
Right.
is always, its main directive, prime directive is survival. So whatever was going on and whatever you were deciding and accepting and adapting to at the time was exactly what you needed to do in that moment to survive and move and keep moving forward. So just find out. It's so powerful to come, and this seems like such a great way to find out what the belief is.
It is, without revisiting that trauma, if that was what created that belief. And in experiences of birth and death, sometimes babies have struggled to be born, and all of that forms a belief within them, and it doesn't serve them anymore. They already made it,
Exactly. And, it serves us for as long as it does. And then when it comes up for you and it's really up, I know that's when it's time to change.
Right.
I know a lot of times things come up. I call it peeling the onion. I know a lot of people have different ways to talk about it. But I would make up, that's why if I come to you with what I'm deciding is an issue about relationships, and my belief that's holding me back could be about health or prosperity, or what, let's see, it could be about... personal power,
or self-esteem.
So, I know
spirituality.
It could be anywhere on any of these lists, but that belief could be holding me back from anywhere in my life, in particularly in relationship.
And sometimes the same belief will come up, but that's because a belief is not limited to one issue or problem that you're experiencing. Sometimes it comes up more than once, and sometimes some of these are. I receive the money I am worth, for instance. It's like, well, yeah, that makes total sense. But sometimes we don't really believe that in our subconscious mind. And so that belief, changing that, supporting that, can make a big difference in,
Well, changing the belief just creates a whole new feeling. When you have a different thought, more positive thoughts about yourself and your life, and you change those negative beliefs to positive beliefs that are now serving you, it's so empowering, and it gives all of that a whole new charge. And I know that once you have that new energy, that's your new point of attraction.
Exactly.
So you will now, that whole law of correspondence kicks in. So you will be attracting to yourself and being attracted to people, places, events, situations that now support that really healthy belief.
Exactly.
That is so powerful and so wonderful. And this seems like such a really quick, easy and kind of fun way to move through this.
It is.
We all make up that change has to be so hard and difficult, and transformation and therapy, the big therapy word, it all has to be so hard. This seems like fun, and it seems really easy to me.
It is. And in the new direction balance, Mitch was talking about feelings. After being in that whole brain posture and repeating the belief statement that you want to have, that process is complete when you have a feeling inside, some kind of shift. Some people have a very subtle shift. I know when I've done it, it's like I have this huge exhalation of breath. And
release.
It's just a release, and you feel it. And